Ladies, gentlemen, and fellow Bears, welcome to the 2019 opening convocation event. We're glad to have you here with us today as we kick off another great school year. And now, enjoy the show, Building Our Future. Please stand for the national anthem, performed by a talented sleuth of our very own White Bear Lake area high school Bears.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air,
Thank you, students, for sharing your talents with us this morning. It's always a great way to kick off a new school year. We now invite you to look to the screens for a video message from our 7 community members who make up our White Bear Lake Area School Board. Our legacy, our future.
I feel like when a school district is intentional about what it believes, that spreads out into the community.
The mission gives you the hope that our students and our greater community of all ages will have so many new choices.
My kids have been in the district from kindergarten all the way up, so we've been able to experience elementary, middle school, and now high school. The district, I think, goes above and beyond what I would normally expect a school district to do.
My real source of pride is, the spectrum of the programs and the fact that there's something for everybody.
The most exciting part of the plan is the fact that it has been a collaborative process, transparent, open to everyone.
It, I think, is an excellent strategic plan because it speaks to the needs of our students.
I think the one part of the plan that appeals most to me is students being agents in their education. I think it's incredibly important for students to understand why they're doing what they're doing and to have a voice in it.
What excites me about the district's future is growth, quite frankly.
I'm the mom of 4 little bears myself, and so whenever I see all the progress that the district is making, I think about all 8,500 kids, but then I also think about my 4 littles.
One thing I'm really excited about the district's future is the facilities plan, because it will impact every single building in the district, therefore every single student in the district.
It's just an all-around great plan. I think that there's just some great work being done by the community telling us here's what we want our school district to look like into the future and being able to deliver on that plan.
I think the sign of a strong community and a strong school district is a school board that has the same vision and has the same goals, and ultimately we're all here because we want a good experience for the students.
I truly believe that every board member on our board really has the best interests of all students in this district at heart.
Everybody has a real enthusiasm, they're positive, and everybody's a real bear booster.
One of the things that resonates with me, and that I hear it all the time, is our slogan, Go Bears. And everybody on this board are Bears for life, as they say, and I appreciate that more and more.
The opportunities are endless. Take advantage of it. Be prepared, for the next stage in life.
Continue to show our kids the love and the care and the concern that the staff has been known for over the years.
I see you, I see how hard you work, how much you love your students, how invested you are in this community. Students, this is a special place, so we're glad you're here. We hope that you feel welcome here.
As we start the school year, it is very, very important to remember that we want to honor our legacy, but at the same time, courageously build our future.
Go Bears!
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 Thank you, school board members, for your collective work and leadership. Some of our school board members were able to join us today. We invite you to stand and be recognized, board members. There they are. Thank you for your service to our students, families, and community. Next, we welcome to the stage the district's 2019 Teacher of the Year, Abby Kath. Abby is a kindergarten teacher at Lincoln Elementary and a proud White Bear grad. She comes from a family of distinguished educators with a long history of service in White Bear Lake area schools.
Good morning, White Bear staff, and welcome to all of the new employees joining our great district. We are so happy that you are here. Since I was young, I've always looked forward to starting a new school year. I love heading back to school. I actually think I love it a little bit more as an adult. I love the energy in the air, the excitement for a new year, catching up with friends, a predictable schedule, reconnecting with colleagues, the opportunity for a fresh start, new faces of students, and the dedication witnessed by all of our district staff members. It's refreshing, inspiring, and encouraging. Every summer, I find myself staying up way too late, reading all the education blogs and tweets that I saved during the school year when I didn't have time. I reflect. I make decisions about what changes I want to make during the next school year and how to improve what I did before. Last summer was no different. However, I came across something that would change the way that I looked at the relationships I build with my students forever. I was reading a teaching blog, and in it said that good teachers knew 10 things about all of their students. My first thought was, okay, that's easy. I've always prided myself on the relationships I build with my students. I was sure that I knew 10 things about all of my kids. And then I started counting, thinking about the kids from the year before. The most I could come up with was 6. I was a little disheartened. I sat on it for a few days thinking, why? It kept nagging at me. I knew I wasn't a bad teacher because I didn't know 10 things about every one of my kids, but I knew I could do better. Because I wanted to do better, and because kids deserve better. So I set out on my mission to find 10 things out about each and every one of my kids. Sounds simple enough, right? 240 things. Naturally, I made myself some parameters. It couldn't be favorite color, it couldn't be names of siblings, favorite food. I was digging for the meaningful things, the things that make each one of our kids special. I could do it. So then I thought about the management piece. Do I create a doc with the things I learned? Do I handwrite them? This is not reportable data. It's kind of ridiculous that my mind went there, as if this would be our CIT discussion the next week. My goal was to take the time to listen more carefully, to be present in conversations with my students, and to immerse myself in their lives. No need to be accountable with my findings. I quickly found that some of my kids gave me all the information I needed in our first hour together. In fact, I still recall very specific directions to the houses I've been given that are always accompanied by a play date or a birthday party invite. That is, if their directions are accurate. Other kids were more reserved. It took time for them to open up and learn more than their favorite color, favorite food, or that recess is definitely the best part of their day. It took nearly half a year for one of my outgoing kids to tell me that they have a therapy dog named Gus and that he loves being read to. As I continued to listen with intent, the relationships that I built developed stronger, and they exploded. The kids craved learning more about each other and sharing more information with me. Their classroom and their school became a safe place where they were valued, heard, and cared for, where they learned to take risks and make mistakes in a supportive and encouraging environment. We began to build a relationship that will last far beyond our 1 year together. All of us here today have the ability to make this kind of impact on the students we come in contact with, in the media center, on the bus, in the health office, at extended day, in the lunchroom, at Market Fest when you're putting on tattoos, as we pass them in the halls, see them outside of school, and even at Target sometimes. In our fast-paced educational system, it is within our control to be intentional, to slow down and take the time to listen, to be sure that each child is heard and to be present in their lives. Imagine the collective impact that we, as White Bear staff, can have on all of our students simply by listening and being present. Think about the student who's withdrawn, the student who acts out, the one who is reluctant to share, and every other student you come in contact with each day. What if just one of us took the time to learn 2 or 5 or 10 unique things about them? Imagine the magnitude of that, multiplied by the staff that interact with each student every day. As our students transition through our district, consider the depth of the relationships we are building and how far they will reach into our future. My family has been part of the White Bear Lake School District since I was born. To say that I'm proud to be a Bear is an understatement. There's something about this tight-knit community with the Bear statues and orange and black pride that draws people back and is simply unique. Growing up, I knew White Bear was a special place, but as a staff member, community member, and now parent, I believe White Bear is building a path to be better than it has ever been before. This fall, my daughter Lucy will be entering kindergarten, and my son Bennett will be part of the early childhood programming. Not only Marissa picked the good one. Not only have the programs that my children been part of since birth exceeded mine and my husband's expectations, the quality of relationships my daughter has built with the adults who have worked with her has been amazing. Each and every one of them has made her feel cared for, special, and loved, even as a 3-month-old when they came to our house and serviced her. I cannot wait for Bennett to have the same experience as her, but it'll likely take an extra dose of patience. Brace yourself. Last week, he actually fell in the Discovery Bay shark petting tank at the Minnesota Zoo. He came out soaked, but definitely okay. And in case you're wondering, this happens frequently, so the zoo has towels and changes of clothing for these situations. And your kid gets to walk a llama for $7 when he falls in the shark tank. Feel free to ask me more about that story, and Hugo, wherever you are, you have been warned. So that's the amazing thing about White Bear. We have the best staff. We have people who care about kids, who are dedicated and motivated to guide all students to be the best they can be in the present and as they build their futures. Over the past few years, we have had a group of community and staff members work diligently to create a district strategic plan, building strategic plans, and facility proposals that exemplify forward thinking, best practice, and opportunity for all students. As a staff member and parent, I am excited about the vision being built for our district. I am thrilled that all of our students and my own children will be seen and valued for who they are and who they aspire to be. This year, I encourage all of you to slow down, to take the time to connect with your coworkers, share your successes with others, to laugh, to support, but most importantly, to listen and be present. I encourage you to find one person, or 10, or 20, or 100, and learn about them. Maybe it's a student, a colleague, a parent, or a community member, but truly learn about them and build relationships you'll both remember for the rest of your lives. Because as my mom always says, even on your worst day, you are some child's best hope. Thank you, and go Bears.
Thank you, Abby. We appreciate your inspiring insights on service and connections with students, families, and colleagues. Next, we welcome to the stage our Superintendent, Dr. Wayne Kazmerchek. Dr. K will provide some updates on important district initiatives underway this fall as we honor our legacy and build our future.
Good morning, everybody. Always a tough act to follow. One of the highlights during the course of a school year is the night that we interview the finalists for Teacher of the Year. And this year was just an amazing slate of candidates, and I think you got a taste of the amazing educators we have in this school system, so thank you, Abby. All right, well, thank you all for being here as we kick off the 2019-20 school year. It's fun to see a packed house. I don't know if there are very many empty seats, so thank you for being here. So my role today will be to provide an update on several things and to kick off the school year here as we begin a very exciting time. So I've got some esteemed colleagues here and guests, and we're going to talk about two important district initiatives: our strategic plan and our 2019 Building Bond Referendum. So to get started, I'd like for your help in celebrating engagement. We have taken extra steps to make sure we're engaging our school community, and I want you to be recognized here for a moment. So through the generous contributions of the members of our school communities who've given their time, talents, and insights, our district is on a path to better serve all of our students, families, and community members. We could not have reached the outcomes we did without the collective wisdom, and I'm so proud of the fact that so many of you were part of that reality. So, as I read the list of district and school initiatives, I invite any of you who were involved to please stand. If you were involved or still are involved, I'd like you to please stand. So if you're on the district level strategic planning team, or if you were on an action team that emerged from the district's plan, would you please stand and stay standing? School level, yep. Great. Please stay standing. School level strategic planning teams, please stand. In addition, anyone who was on an action team at your school, please stand. Those of you who are on the comprehensive facilities planning team, there are quite a few of you, please stand. We had a group come together to work on an equity statement. If you were part of that group, please stand. Please stay standing. And last week we had referendum site teams come together to learn about the bond referendum. If you were part of that, please stand. Okay. So this is a pretty impressive representation of engagement, and thank you all for your commitment to this idea of collective shared leadership. There is strength in numbers, and from the looks of it, our future is strong as we are poised to do great things as a result of this collective
Dr.
work.
Kasperchak?
Yes.
Dr. K?
Yes, Steve.
Excuse me, I think you forgot something. You forgot one initiative.
Okay.
The Big Sleuth. Yeah, the Big Sleuth. Okay, raise your hand. Is it okay? Can I just?
Yep. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's all yours.
Raise your hand if you submitted an idea for the Big Sleuth. Raise your hand. Yeah, look at that. Do you know? Yeah. Oh yeah, there's lots of hands up here too. You can't see them, but most districts look for maybe 30 or 40 ideas. Do you know how many ideas we had? Check this out. Oh, 143. That's pretty great, right? Yeah. Now, just raise your hand if you voted on any of the ideas. If you voted, did the online voting part. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. How many times, Matt, did you vote? Do you remember?
Over 30.
Over 30. Anybody else? How many times did you vote? Hundreds. Awesome. Awesome. Dr. K, how many times did you vote?
I'm probably about 50.
About 50? Yeah. Not bad. Anybody want to guess how many votes we had collectively? Just throw out a number. 2,000, way higher. 10,000? Check this out.
4,001.
Oh, that's how many people voted. We had over 500 votes. I totally blew it. Totally blew that. Okay. All right, let's try this again. Guess how many votes? This many. 66,705. That's a lot of engagement.
That's a lot of engagement.
That's a lot of engagement. Okay, so let's, we actually, Innovate K-12 is this organizing body that helps school districts do Big Sleuth type projects, and they gave us an award for the highest support and staff engagement. That's pretty great. In our first year. That's pretty great. Yeah. So if you're new to White Bear, just the Big Sleuth, think of it as a crowdsource innovation project where we collect great ideas from all across the district. Staff can go online to a portal, submit their best ideas, and it could be an idea that impacts the entire district, or it could be an idea that just impacts as small as one classroom. Right? But you can go online and submit your idea, review ideas that other people have submitted and make comments on them, and then you can discuss with your colleagues, and eventually we all go online and vote the best ideas to the top. These were the 6 ideas that our 66,000 collective votes voted up to the top. But you know, there were a lot more than just 6 great ideas. In fact, there was one, well, I gotta come clean. We cheated. We pulled an idea out before the voting. And we did not because it was a bad idea or that it wasn't feasible. We pulled it because it was such a good idea, we should be doing it anyway, and we just wanted to get started. Do you know what it was? Lightspeed. Lightspeed. Yeah, raise your hand if you're a fan. Yeah, we got some fans. Yeah. Lightspeed was an idea that came from a teacher who visited another school district, and they came back and said, in this other district, they have this tool that helps teachers control what students can and can't access on their Chromebooks during class time. That'd be great. We should do that. And we said, yes, we should. So we did. All right. So once we had our 66,000 votes choosing our 6 ideas, we had our idea champions choose a team. Wait a minute. Can we just recognize the idea champions? Can you stand? Where are our idea champions? Stand up. Yeah, there's some up here. Yeah, there we go. Idea champions. Their work was just getting started at this point. They had to gather a team of colleagues and students and coaches and start really going through the design thinking process with their ideas. They discovered through that process that their ideas might come out looking different than they had originally proposed. They might even find that their ideas changed, got better, and might need some practice and some prototyping. So where are we now? Let's take a quick look at the 6 ideas. Mentally healthy bears includes multi-tiered social and emotional supports for elementary students. It also adds a curriculum of activities to engage students in the practice of mindfulness. And it was prototyped at Onika last year in a couple of classrooms, and this year we'll expand to more classrooms, and as well as Hugo. Delaying secondary school start times. This is an example of an idea that evolved through the process. And now it's really focused on flexible scheduling, giving students more choice. Bear Time. And Bear Time this year will be instituted at Central and Sunrise, as well as North and South campuses in multiple formats. Everyone deserves to be clean. This one seems so simple that we should just do it. And we are, but through the process of discovering why some students don't have the abilities to come to school with clean clothes and that we should just have a washer and dryer at ALC for them, a whole curriculum is being developed around independent living skills. And while this is still under development, the washer and dryer are being installed as we speak, from what I hear, as we speak. The Power of Play Recess Makes Kids Smarter highlights the benefits of unstructured time for students, for their choice, for connection, and for movement. They've tested prototypes at Otter Lake Elementary, and this year more testing will happen in other elementary schools and potentially even middle school. Flexible professional development opportunities is really about giving agency to teachers around their own professional development. This idea is being integrated into Strategy 4 of the strategic plan, Building Organizational Capacity, and it's going back to committee for review this fall. And finally, teachers don't need pictures, families do. Yeah, right? This is the idea that all of those printed pictures that we get as staff members and we trade them as jokes with our friends could instead be routed to our students of families in need, right? And we approached LifeTouch Studios about this, and they were really excited to partner with us. And in fact, we are piloting this year, back to school photos. LifeTouch is dropping off this week 500 vouchers for our families in need. So know that the Big Sleuth isn't about collecting ideas that are going to reform the entire district. It's about taking some great ideas, and maybe that's just a small idea for one classroom, and maybe it's an idea that never actually works. And that's okay. We know that there is true value in hearing the voices from all of the people in our district, and that makes us a stronger district. So this process didn't just happen in a vacuum. There was an amazing group of people who put this all together. So if you were on the planning committee for the Big Sleuth, can you please stand and be recognized? Yeah. So look for information soon on this year's Big Sleuth. And the tweak for this year, we're adding students. All right.
All right.
Dr. K, you can continue now.
Okay,
I'm
thank
done.
you. Thank you, Steve. So Steve Asper is our new Director of Technology and Innovation, and you might recognize his voice from earlier in the program. So he's working double duty today. So again, I think those are great examples of the power of allowing a greater number of voices to impact our system, and we've certainly seen some tangible results of that through the Big Sleuth. So another highlight of engagement that I want to be sure to mention today is the district support from the White Bear Lake Area Education Foundation. So the foundation is a nonprofit organization that has been serving the school district for more than 25 years. This fall, foundation board members will visit a staff meeting at each building for their annual staff appeal campaign. The foundation awards more than $160,000 annually in the form of teacher classroom grants, professional development, and student scholarships. In addition, their angel fund supports students and their families who are experiencing food and housing insecurities and need assistance with everyday living necessities. When you donate to the annual staff appeal campaign, your dollars stay in the district and impact thousands of students. The foundation is also the parent organization to the White Bear Lake Alumni Association, which is pulling together a first ever all alumni reunion. Be sure to mark your calendar to attend that event, which will take place the Saturday of homecoming weekend, along with the 6.24K Bear Power Fun Run Walk. All right, because you did so well with the stand-up activity earlier, we're going to do it once again. Please stand as these categories apply to you. So if you're a graduate of White Bear Lake Area High School, please stand. Wow. Okay, stay standing. If you attended a school in the district when you were a child, so even if you didn't graduate from here, if you attended a school, if you have parents who attended school in the district, please stand. If you have a significant other who attended school in the district, please stand. And if you have children who attend or attended school in the district, please stand. So. All right, it looks like this event will be packed, and if this is any indication of the attendee list, and know that all are invited, so even if you aren't currently standing, we'd love to see you on the district center lawn that morning. Go Bears. So, go ahead and take your seat. As I let you know that the festivities at that free event will include a pancake breakfast sponsored by the Lions Club, an alumni car show, tours of District Center, photos with Bear and the Washington School Bell, which is being dedicated that day. The bell was recently installed in front of District Center this summer. You maybe have noticed it just out front. We will soon be joined by a donated Bear statue. The display project is a gift from the Alumni Association. And last but not least, there will be a book signing with author David Garenbeck, a 1949 graduate. So, speaking of Mr. Garenbeck, I invite him up to the stage to tell us a bit about his book and the building that we are currently in. So, welcome, Mr. Garenbeck.
Thank you, Dr. Kazmierczak, for allowing me to introduce my forthcoming account of the building from which I graduated 70 years ago, along with exactly 100 classmates. For the past few years, I have been researching, writing, and rewriting the story of White Bear High School, as it still is known by us 49ers. The result is a 188-page history of the building that, as you know, is now 101 years old. Here is the title page. The bricks and mortar part was relatively easy to reconstruct, but the and beyond part was more challenging as I tried to squeeze in as many names and pictures as I could. These include all graduates from 1918 to 1964, most of them photos of the large composites along Alumni Row in the second floor corridor. Chapter 1 begins with a quick look back at White Bear Lake's first schools, followed by the earliest known photo of the building before all the windows and doors were installed, with loose lumber and debris lying outside. And here are pictures from the 1931 Metaskin showing the building from the air, the assembly room on the 3rd floor with its skylight to the roof and a track meet out in back. Next are pictures and short bios of all 9 of our remarkable, yet remarkably few, superintendents. Next is a study of comparisons, a 100-year span between the graduating classes of 1914 from Washington School and 2014 from South Campus. And here are students and their automobiles in the late 1950s. Do note that 1931 Model A Ford at the top. Now for homecoming 1938, as the parade moved around town, and with pictures of our homecoming queens from the very first in 1938 to the last, 1963, who also graduated from this building. Finally, a visit to the underworld, the boiler room that used to be a respite for male educators smoking cigars and playing cribbage, and where students were invited to leave their imprints on the walls for posterity. How times have changed. And here in my hands is a proof copy of the book coming your way by mid-September. I would take off the clamp, but the problem with that would be that all the pages would fall out because they haven't been attached to the spine yet. By the way, the cover sketch and the prologue of the book were written by Dr. Lovett. Order forms will be available later this morning, and copies of the book will be delivered to your respective buildings as soon as possible. Please do not try to prepay today, as I'll include an envelope for that purpose with each book. If you decide later on to purchase a copy for $20, such will be on sale by the Historical Society on Monday, September 23rd at the White Bear Library on 2nd Street, at the all-school reunion on Saturday the 28th of September, and during the tour of this building the next day, unless all 500 copies are gone by then. Don't I wish? And thank you all very much, especially Marissa and Dr. Kay. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your time with us this morning, David. But more importantly, for the hours and weeks and months, probably years, you've put into this book. Your energy for the project certainly propelled it beyond bricks and mortar. Please join me in offering another round of applause for Mr. David Garenbeck. Class of 1949. Right, as we celebrate alumni accomplishments, we also look forward to the future. Preparing current and future students for their own paths, this is a major consideration for the district and school strategic plans. As we've worked through the district level and building specific strategic planning process, we've seen that we're all working towards the same goal. We are arriving in slightly different ways, but we all have the same destination. This genuine convergence has been exciting to see. And nestled within the strategic planning conversations has been a focus on student achievement, which I'm proud to say is much more than test scores in White Bear Lake area schools. Among other achievement factors, three stand out in the district: building and program plans, student-centered instruction, social and emotional learning, and equity. Last spring, a representative group came together to discuss equity and build an equity commitment statement together. Some of the main takeaways from the conversation were the following: that equity encompasses all things we do, that diversity is our strength, community voice is essential, we must engage our community and support all students, This work is tied to the social and emotional well-being of our students. There's great value in the work done at the buildings and programs, and that we know we have work to do. The last point, we know we have work to do, is an important one. We commit to nurture the whole student. We disrupt systemic inequities by recognizing, honoring, and embracing all cultures with humility and respect. So expect to hear more about this during the coming school year. Earlier this month, the 30-member strategic planning team came back together to hear updates and to tweak our plan. While studying the plan, it became apparent that one important topic in the district requires a bit more conversation, so a 9th strategy was added into the plan. The additional strategy reads, we will imagine new concepts in learning and teaching at White Bear Lake Area High School. Exciting work is on the horizon with this strategy, and in fact, that work has already begun. So as we work to serve all of the students with the best learning experience possible through graduation and beyond. These 9 strategies continue to support the important work being done in each of our buildings and programs, and thank you all for your work in serving our students, families, and community through our programs. Our facilities play a large part in providing this support as well, which is another important topic of conversation in the coming months. You might have heard about it, right? So this fall, on or before November 5th to be exact, White Bear Lake Area School District residents will vote whether to provide funding for building needs across the district. The plan is a comprehensive one with many interwoven parts, so I'll let this video set the stage.
It's a 624 fact. We've got a really good thing going in White Bear Lake area schools. So good that families are choosing to build their homes and their futures in our communities. The district has seen 7% growth since 2010 and expects 2,000 more new students will enroll during the next 10 years. Let's face it, that's 25% higher than our current capacity. On November 5th, voters will be asked to approve a bond referendum to fund a comprehensive facilities plan. This plan is the result of a nearly year-long process involving a committee made up of 90 parents, staff, and community members. If the bond referendum is approved, every building in the district would be updated in some way, creating a domino effect of solutions. Here's a bird's-eye view of the plan. District-wide additions and renovations would accommodate projected enrollment growth. Safe, secure, and healthy learning environments for all students. Increased opportunities for students through a single, unified 9 through 12 high school experience. And flexibly designed learning spaces to support student-centered instruction. It's important to note, the average age of our district buildings is 50 years old. Tack on another 5 decades for the oldest building. If approved, there are building-specific changes that will happen in order to meet student enrollment and academic needs. The new elementary school would be built in Hugo. Onika Elementary would become a K-5 school, and Hugo Elementary would become a Northern Early Childhood Center. The facilities plan also includes bringing all high school students together in a renovated North Campus, which means better access to more comprehensive course offerings, including college and career pathways options, fewer transitions for students during critical adolescent developmental stages, and maintaining consistent, longer-lasting staff and student relationships. The high school expansion allows for Sunrise Park Middle School to relocate to South Campus. The current Sunrise Park Middle School site would house various multi-generational community programs, including the Senior Center and Early Childhood Programming, the Transition Education Center, and the district office. This makes room for Central Middle School to expand and take over the current District Center building. This comprehensive plan impacts all of our buildings and students. If the $326 million bond referendum is approved in November, the average homeowner would see a tax impact of about $23 per month. The future is bright. Families continue to choose our school district because of the way we support and engage all learners. After a tremendous amount of discussion and planning over the past year, the team came up with a plan that would accommodate our projected enrollment growth. It provides more programs and opportunities for all residents, aligns with the district's strategic plan, and is financially sustainable. Please learn all you can about the bond referendum and remember to vote on November 5th.
So as you can see, the plan is comprehensive in nature, so to whittle it down to a 3-minute explanation was quite the undertaking. Because we know you're likely to be asked questions, you're going to be asked for details, we want to spend a little more time with you this morning to provide a bit more of an understanding about the bond referendum. So we'll start with the driving factors, the strategic plan. Out of the strategic planning process came aspirations of doing things differently here in White Bear Lake. This idea was covered in each of the strategies and specifically addressed in Strategy 6. We will ensure learning environments enhance students' educational experience. In order to do things differently, our facilities, which were built for an old way of teaching and learning, need to be updated. Additionally, the strategic plan calls for fewer transitions for our students throughout their academic career in the district. This would be accomplished in 2 ways. With the construction of a new elementary school in Hugo, students would stay in one building for their K through 5 years, which would match the rest of the district's elementary experience. In the addition to North Campus, on land already owned by the district, would create a single unified 9 through 12 high school experience for all of our students. Secondly, our enrollment is growing. We simply need more space to accommodate the resident students who are coming through our doors. With homes being built in the northern part of the district and our homes turning over in the southern part of the district, we need space to accommodate the nearly 2,000 plus additional students coming our way. Safety and security needs are also a driving force, with expectations around these 2 areas changing in recent years. Needs include improvements to building entrances, parking lots, bus drop-off areas, video surveillance equipment. The facilities plan calls for necessary updates to be made, which will improve safety and security for our students, staff, and community members who utilize our facilities. Our facilities have served us well for many years, but they are in need of maintenance. The average age of our buildings, as noted, is 50 years, with the oldest building, again, 101 years, the district center of the building we're in now. So to help frame the timeline, think of this. The district center building opened during World War I and is still used today. It's a beautiful building, and we're very proud of it. The vast majority of our buildings were built in the 1950s and 60s. So we've built only 1 school in the last 31 years. So it's time for an investment to be made to our aging facilities. In order to best serve our students, we're going to need to change how we deliver programming, and our facilities will play a huge part in this. What worked at one time with rows of desks and a stand and deliver model is simply not the best way to prepare our students for the future. We realize that that isn't the preferred way of instruction, and we know that you are making the most of the facilities in which you're in, but it's time for an investment there. The comprehensive facilities plan would provide the resources needed to allow for student-centered learning to take place in flexibly designed spaces throughout the district. So I won't go through this entire committee charge statement, other than to mention that the comprehensive facilities planning team, again made up of 90 representative members, had a tall order, and they delivered. They delivered a plan that was unanimously agreed upon by the school board. And ultimately, the committee itself agreed unanimously to move it forward to the board. A by-the-numbers description of the process can be found here. So we had, the committee met for over 7 months, again, over 90 committee members. There were 3 subcommittees. There were more than 10 committee meetings. And members spent over 36 hours in meetings, along with the time spent outside of those meetings, to build our one comprehensive plan. The video provided a terrific explanation of the committee's recommendation, of what the committee's recommendation entails, so I'll cover the slide with a reminder of the plan. We won't necessarily go through all of that, but it sets us up well for the next several generations of students. It impacts all buildings and students. And with these comprehensive changes taking place, it is important to recognize the investment it will take from the community. Due to smart financial management and old debt being paid off, the comprehensive district-wide plan can be accomplished with a tax impact of about $23 per month for the average homeowner. The average home in the White Bear Lake School District is valued at about $275,000. While we realize this is an investment, We are hopeful that our community will recognize that the comprehensive facilities plan encompasses all district buildings and addresses questions that have been asked in the community for decades. If the bond does not pass, projected enrollment growth would lead to overcrowded schools. The students are still coming. The houses are still going to be built. We would experience higher class sizes and insufficient space for educational and community programs. Critical safety, security, and maintenance needs would not be addressed. The current split campus high school experience would continue, and learning spaces would not receive updates to support student-centered instruction. So important facts for all staff members to remember as we begin this fall. $23 per month tax impact on the average homeowner covers the comprehensive district-wide plan that accommodates our enrollment growth, improves school safety and security, addresses deferred maintenance and infrastructure needs, and updates classrooms for student-centered instruction. So the election will happen on November 5th, along with early voting opportunities. We will continue to keep district staff members informed about the bond referendum through our 624 updates, email to all staff members every Friday afternoon, so be sure to read those important messages. The district website, isd624.org/bond2019, will continue to be the source for the most complete current information as well. So now that I've told you a bit about the plan, I invite you to hear about the why behind the bond referendum from an impressive list of district stakeholders.
What I love most about White Bear Lake area schools is really the great sense of community that we have here.
You live in White Bear Lake, you live in anywhere in the surrounding areas, you're a bear.
When I see our students and what they're doing, you know, I feel pride that they're a product of our system and of our community.
I'm so proud to be part of this school district. It's a very special place. Our strategic plan has provided a new direction for us. We have defined what we want our students' experience to be here, and we need facilities to come along with that new vision. And that's why on November 5th, we're asking our community to come out and vote on a bond referendum that would support these exciting changes for our students. This plan is focused on 4 areas. It accommodates our projected enrollment growth. It provides safe, secure, and healthy learning environments for all students. This plan increases opportunities for students through a single, unified 9 through 12 high school experience. And lastly, it creates flexibly designed learning spaces to support student-centered instruction.
I'm excited that we're actually looking at what would be best for our schools and our students. There was a lot that went into planning for this. Lots of opportunities for community members to have a voice.
The fact that I've had a say in different things and been able to speak for my peers have been absolutely incredible.
We unanimously approved a plan that we thought was best for everybody involved.
People are choosing to move to White Bear Lake. They're choosing to build homes in White Bear Lake. So we're essentially at capacity right now, and we anticipate adding another 25% to our student population over the next decade.
So that's good for businesses and property values to have a desirable place that people want to live in.
Our facilities are aging. Simple comforts like our air conditioning and heating and making sure the roof isn't leaking, those things impact what we're able to do for students.
Expectations around safety and security have evolved over the last few years, and it's time to invest in our facilities to make sure our students and staff are safe.
We've done a lot of great work for the past 30+ years, making sure our community feels supported in that split campus model, but it's not the best that we can be. Many different options were discussed, and everyone arrived that we are a one high school community, and coming together as one White Bear Lake area high school is going to propel us into the future.
We know that transitioning from one building to another can cause stress. We know that building relationships with adults is really critical. When you have 2 different high schools, you have only so much time that you can establish that relationship, and then they're off to a different campus.
You finally start to get comfortable in North Campus and you start to learn what the circles are, and then boom, you're in another school. Now you're in the maze of South Campus.
In order to maintain the level of programming that we currently offer and even expand that, we need to be one campus. And so when we looked at coming together in that high school that will eventually grow to 3,200 students, there are really intentional ways that we can make a big school feel small for our students and families.
The idea that we're all bears and we're all under the same roof will allow us to reimagine what the high school experience is for our students.
flexible learning spaces around all of our buildings, not just focused in our high schools, I think is really key. I mean, just sitting in front of a teacher and being lectured, I mean, that doesn't work for everyone, and that's kind of how our system is set up right now.
Student agency is a big part of the strategic plan. So I like that we're looking at more collaborative spaces. I want them to explore and find and discover that learning on their own.
We're at a pivotal moment in our district's history to really form what we believe education should look like for our students now and for many, many years to come.
This $326 million bond referendum impacts all of our buildings and students and can be accomplished with a tax impact of about $23 a month for the average homeowner.
Whether you have kids in school or not, I mean, the bottom line is, we have to accommodate the kids and do what's best for the kids, really, and so that's what we're trying to do.
Please learn all that you can about this referendum and remember to vote November 5th.
Yeah, doesn't that make you proud to be a Bear? It's hard to not get teared up when Jim Galvin speaks. For those of you who know Mr. Galvin. So at this point, I'm going to invite to the stage Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations, Tim Wald, whose work behind the scenes on the facilities planning process has helped us get to where we are today. We have a few minutes left, so we are going to open it up to questions, actually. So if you have a question or if you've heard questions from others and you'd like to ask them, we're going to be open to those. So as you're thinking of your questions and getting them texted, we're going to start with a couple that we know have been out there. Let's see, I think it's probably good to go. Welcome, Tim.
Okay, so the first question we have is, does the district plan to take homes near North Campus?
All right, well, we haven't practiced who's going to answer what, but I'll kick us off. And by the way, we're calling this portion Stump Kazmarchuk. We've done this a couple different places, and we thought it should be Stump the Chump, and then somebody commented that would be appropriate now that Tim is on stage. So. Thank you. So welcome up here, Tim.
Stump Kazmarchuk and the Chump.
So the question about taking homes on North Campus. The plan that's been proposed can be accomplished with land that we own without taking any homes. And the school board has said over and over again, and we've never stated any interest in using eminent domain. So absolutely the plan can be pulled off at North Campus with the land that we currently own. All right.
All right. So next. Why are we doing all of this now?
Okay.
Yeah, well, the video kind of addressed that a little bit when it showed the domino effect of the plan, that everything that comes together in this plan solves the mission that the committee identified, that they wanted to address our growth and they wanted to support the strategic plan. So when we start looking at solutions, one of the things we realized we would need to do is be really responsible stewards of our taxpayers' money, and that's make sure that we utilize as much existing square footage as we can. And this plan actually uses, with the exception of Normandy Park, uses every square foot of space that we currently have. And so by creating that plan where the domino effect comes into place, we're able to just utilize everything we have and keep our costs as reasonable as possible.
So this next question asks, how do we respond to people who say that this is the biggest bond referendum in any school district in the state?
That's accurate. It is. I think it's important to acknowledge that it is, but nobody has tried to do what we're trying to do. Nobody has tried to solve this high school issue that we're hoping to solve. So of the $326 million bond referendum, about $180 million of that is for the high school. And the fact is, it's a comprehensive plan. So it's the high school solution, and then it's also another elementary school. A new elementary school costs about $43 million today. When Onika was built, I believe we built that for about, actually it was less than half that. So construction costs have gone up. So I think you'd probably have to index perhaps some of the bond referenda that have been asked over the years throughout the state, but we do acknowledge that it is the largest. But again, nobody has tried to do what we're trying to do.
A neighbor of ours just passed a referendum in May for $275 million. Ours will be $326, and there'll probably be a district that will be above $326 sometime soon. And so as inflation continues to impact the construction industry more than other industries, the price of projects just continues to go up, and it will never be cheaper than it is right now.
Right, and just one more thing. So the tax impact at $23 a month, I think that's an important number to remember. So we're able to accomplish a $326 million bond for a reasonable amount, a reasonable tax impact per month. And in fact, that tax impact is comparable to what other school districts have done in the metro area. Some have done it for less than, some have done it for more, but we're able to do that amount because of the debt plan that we have structured, and we have expiring debt. So we're in a position where we can do a significant investment in our facilities for those reasons. So.
The next question is, how will I benefit if I don't have children in the district?
Yeah, great question. We take pride in the fact that we have programs for our own students, obviously, but then also others throughout the community. So even if you don't have students in the district, we have participants taking part in community ed programs. Again, we pride ourselves in being open and making our facilities accessible to all community members. It's also important to note that anytime a school district invests in school facilities, that's good for homeowners, it's good for property owners, as values tend to increase as a result. So there are some very tangible benefits to everyone in the community.
And it leads to other investments in the community that aren't school district related. It just makes our community stronger.
How will we address the new high school at North Campus, and how will it affect traffic?
Well, that's a great question. And so in the video we just watched, Dr. Gillespie referenced strategies to make big schools feel small. And we have a group that's already started to work on that, to look at when we put as many kids as we will in one building, how do you make kids feel like they belong to something really special? And so that committee of people is going to be working on that. There are lots of high schools that have done this, that have put big numbers of students in one building, and they found ways to make it feel small, ways for kids to connect, and way to be successful at that. So I have no doubt that in White Bear Lake we can do that.
So I add one thing to that. I think it's important to think about this in a way that we're not taking north and south and smashing them together in one building. We're actually imagining a new high school. Yeah, and I think if we go into the project with that mindset, that we actually have this opportunity, this unbelievably rare opportunity, to take the model that we have and to imagine what we want a high school experience to be for our students. And we get to do that. That's a pretty cool opportunity, and it's not one that any of us should take lightly. And we're talking about essentially a new facility, and we're talking about we can probably cherry pick the great things of the cultures from both sites, but really we're creating a new school. And that's an exciting proposition. So traffic, I'm going to let Tim talk about traffic.
Yeah, traffic. So traffic, there's already traffic to this site for sure, and there will likely be more of it. That will be, we have a traffic study in place right now, and we're working with a local engineering firm to identify what the traffic patterns in this area will be. Schools get traffic early in the morning and they get it in the evenings for this really condensed period of time. And so that's what we're working with the engineers, and we'll figure that out, working with the city of Hugo, city of White Bear Lake, and identifying traffic to all of the sites that will be affected.
So this question just asked for a little bit of context. Can you, that was the traffic question again. They're asking about how did we get to the point where we have two high school, or a split campus high school anyway?
Well, so if you go back to look at the graduating classes of White Bear High School through the 70s, we had some really big numbers, in the 800 up to 900 students almost graduating from White Bear High School. At the same, that's the combined Mariner and White Bear High School. At the same time, late 70s, we were enrolling about 550 kindergartners. So if you're graduating 850 seniors and you're enrolling 550 kindergartners, that's a declining enrollment environment. And so the school board was really in an awkward situation where they had these 2 high school buildings, but they didn't have the enrollment, the ongoing enrollment to support the programming at both. So they came up with the idea of the split campus. And as I've done a little bit of research on this and read all the White Bear Press articles from that era, it was a really difficult decision for the schools. And so when they went to that decision in 1983 to combine Mariner and White Bear High School into one campus, I don't think they were thinking this was going to be a 35-year solution. And one board member said it wasn't an idea we loved, but it was the best idea we had, the best option we had at the time. We're in a completely different environment right now, with the buildings that we have no longer meet the educational needs of schools. What they built in 64 and 74 were appropriate at the time. They're not appropriate anymore. So this is an opportunity. We have increasing enrollment. We have an opportunity. We have retiring debt. We have an opportunity to do something great, and we need to do it right.
Is there a plan to answer or refute the false statements that are being made weekly in the White Bear Press in letters to the editor?
Why don't you take that one, Rick?
Okay. Well, I think I imagine that supporters will start to emerge and will also start to write. We deal with some of the claims that are made. Weekly, daily in some cases, and we try to talk with folks directly about anything that comes up like that, and we just try to clarify where we're coming from. A good example again is this idea that the district is going to take homes. That is never something that the school board had ever said it would do. So we just continue to answer questions as they come up, and we want to make sure that that the factual information is out there. We have great information on the district's website. We have a frequently asked questions portion, and there's a part in there about rumor versus reality, and so we're trying to tackle it that way. But again, I suspect we know there are many supporters who are planning to get involved in submitting votes of confidence or votes of support and with a plan. So.
And the district is really now just kicking off our communications plan. So you saw the 2 videos today. That will answer a lot of questions for people. We'll be doing presentations around the community over the next 6 weeks or so. And so that hopefully will answer a lot of questions. And we've had a lot of conversations with people one-on-one, sat in people's dining room tables and talked about the referendum and what that means for them. Dr. Kazmierczuk just met a neighbor on the 50-yard line of Price Field the other day, which I wish I could have watched from my office window, because I think that would have been kind of fun to watch. In the old days, I suppose they would have smoked a cigar at the 50-yard line.
What happens to students at North Campus during construction, assuming the referendum passes?
So they stay in school. They're not off the hook. So it's a complicated project, no doubt. But there's the firms that do this work. This is what they deal with. They make sure that we're able to still have school and kids are safe and things are cordoned off so that they can do their work while school is in session. So they would remain. So it'd pretty much be business as usual.
You drive by Roseville High School and you see all the construction that's going on there, and what you see on the outside is only part of it. There's lots of construction going on in the guts of that building, and they're just phasing it in and working around that plan.
Will the football stadium and track still stay at South Campus?
Yes, it will. The stadium will stay at South. However, we haven't done design work yet, but I can just tell you that the conversations we've had and the brainstorming that we've had, this site would absolutely need an all-weather track. There would need to be multiple turf fields here. So I can envision, I don't know, again, maybe I shouldn't say this publicly, but I could envision Price Field actually seeing an investment there and perhaps becoming maybe that's the spot if there's enough room to, where a turf field could be along with an all-weather track, along with seating for, a few hundred people for events like track meets or lacrosse or soccer where we don't get huge crowds. So there are ways to, there will be facilities here, but the 4,000 or 5,000 seat stadium would not be here, at least not initially. That might be something that would happen down the road, but.
South Campus already has roads and infrastructure to handle expected traffic, so why not just expand that location?
Yeah, South Campus is actually a smaller piece of land. There's just not as much room there. It also isn't ideal for traffic from around our communities. We have students driving from Hugo right now to attend South Campus. They have about a 25-minute drive in the morning. All of that traffic funnels into the south end of the district. So it's coming from, mostly from the north, but it does create some traffic issues there. When we relocate the high school completely to the middle of the community, it creates more access points from north, south, east, and west, and it will reduce the traffic time from the north considerably.
I think that was an important consideration in the committee, is that the high school solution be centrally located.
I see you're addressing the needs of elementary kids in Hugo and the needs of high school students in White Bear Lake. What about the rest of us? Will that extended day benefit?
What was the last part of that, Steve? Extended day?
Will extended day benefit?
Oh, okay. I mean, every one of our buildings is going to be impacted significantly. Lincoln Gymnasium is in the plan. So there are site-specific needs that will be addressed, and so our architects have met with principals and others at each building to talk about what their needs are. So yes, it's obvious to see that there's a new school or the high school investment. It's easier to see those larger items, but there will be investment throughout the entire school district. And I don't know if you want to add anything there,
Well,
Tim?
and extended day specifically
extended day,
will have benefit. We know in some of our buildings, extended day is really crunched, especially as we get, as we're using more and more spaces for our K-5 programs. Extended day finds less and less really quality space available to them. So that will be addressed building by building depending on what the needs are. But also security for extended day. One thing we struggle with right now is really locking off parts of our building after the school day ends. And so one of our security investments will be to secure the building for extended day.
Let me just add a couple more things. So as the video saw, and we've talked about Sunrise Park Middle School, that would move to South Campus, and that's a pretty amazing opportunity to move a middle school into that facility and make that facility work as a middle school. And then Central Middle School expanding into District Center addresses their needs very well, in addition to the site improvements that would be made here. So I think, well, I know it doesn't take much to realize that this plan is beneficial to all students, preschool on up, throughout the entire district. So that's one of the parts that we feel most proud about with this plan, with what the committee came up with.
Can you say more about what you mean by our current facilities not being appropriate for learning today? What exactly does that mean?
Sure.
Well, the buildings are 50, average 50+ years old, and so they were designed with very little flexibility in mind. And so we know that as I visited with teachers, and especially in our elementary schools, they would like the ability to have smaller groups of kids working together, create some collaboration environment, and their rooms are pretty locked in. So one of the ways that we can really help with that is through flexibly designed furniture in classrooms. And it'll be expensive to tear down a lot of walls and rebuild our elementary schools, but you can create some of those demands for flexible spaces through flexible furniture.
We've seen some of that throughout the district, but there's only so much you can do when you're not funded. A bond referendum allows you the resources to make a significant investment in that type of shift district-wide.
We'll wrap it up today with one final submitted question, and that was, how do you tell the two of you to part?
I'm a lot younger. I actually heard that question, so you didn't hear it. So that's how. I'm a lot younger. Still didn't. Could you repeat the question for Tim, Steve?
How do you tell the two of you apart?
Yeah, well, I bleached my beard white to help with that. Well, one question that didn't come up yet and usually comes up is the question about deferred maintenance. If so much maintenance needs to be done in our buildings, why did you not be more responsible and take care of that along the way? And that's a great question. And the district has invested a lot of money in our old buildings. What happens, in terms of school funding, the state does not provide any funding for school districts for their facilities. That is all local taxpayer dollars. And so the school board sells bonds annually for the purposes of maintenance. And we do small amounts every year, and we do leaky roofs and windows and carpet and paint and do the things that you need to do, just as you would at your home. You invest little bits every year in your homes. Eventually, school districts across the state have to ask their taxpayers to invest significantly in the maintenance of old buildings. And so this is the time to do that. We haven't asked our taxpayers to invest in our buildings in quite some time, so this is the time to do that.
All right, I think that wraps it up. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Dr. Tim.
Okay, so if there are any questions that we didn't get to, we'll answer those, and it'll come out in this week's 624 update. So look for that Friday afternoon. Also, if you have questions that you didn't want to ask now, or if something comes up along the way, please reach out, call, email, stop by, invite us out, and we'd be happy to visit. You should know that Tim and I will be coming out to each site over the course of the next few weeks. So you'll likely see a similar presentation. We'll probably cut to the chase, though, and get just to the point where you can ask questions, and so that you feel comfortable answering those questions as they may come up. People will listen to you. People will ask you all questions, perhaps more readily than they would reach out to us here at District Center. So all right, well, thank you. Thank you for a great morning so far, and so here's to a terrific 2019-20 school year. Everybody together, we have to do it. Go Bears, right? Go Bears. Okay.
We invite you to your feet as the cheerleaders end today's festivities with a performance of the White Bear Lake Area High School song. Lyrics can be found on your program. Thank you all for attending the 2019 opening convocation event. Have a terrific 2019-20 school year. Now say it with me on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Bears!